go now to Joel Fitzgibbon, the Labor member for the seat of Hunter, the retiring Labor member for the seat of Hunter. Still hard at it now, though, Joel. Tell us what you think of these protesters, a dangerous and obviously costly exercise today, holding up these coal trains all over the Hunter Valley.
Well, Chris, their arrogance and lack of respect for those who work in the industry is only matched by their ignorance. I mean, they put their own safety at risk. They put at risk the lives of those who undoubtedly at some point or regularly are called upon to save them. They are disrespectful of Hunter coal workers and all those associated industries. It's disruptive for our own economy, but it's particularly disruptive for other economies. That is, developing countries who so desperately need Australia's world-class, efficient coal to keep the lights on, to warm their homes, to keep the wheels of industry turning in places like India and China and other markets in Asia. These people simply don't understand what our coal does, what we get for it as a nation and as an economy. And undoubtedly, Chris, each and every one of these protesters will have been at some point a beneficiary of our coal mining industry.
Do you think that our courts in all the states are generally too lenient on these sorts of protesters? The only way to dissuade them is to make them pay a price, isn't it?
I think financial penalties are far more effective, Chris. I mean, you can get up to a $1,000 fine now for speeding on the road or using a mobile phone in the car. But you can bet London to a brick, if these people end up in court, they'll get something less than that. I think we have to put up further barriers, tougher penalties and further disincentives for this sort of behaviour. But you saw that woman putting coal back into the ground, Chris. I mean, some of these people are just mad. I wonder what she knows what a fossil fuel is. It's a fossil from dead animals and fish and plants and trees from millions of miles, millions of years ago. I suspect these people don't even know what coal is.
Yeah, I'm just checking on my phone. I have a little app looking at how much of electricity in New South Wales is being supplied by coal at the moment, and it's over 60%. So no matter where they're plugging in their iPhones or whatever, they're using it. Speaking about the madness, let's hear a little bit more from one of those protesters.
All right, that's a few loadfuls. Spades, shovelfuls of toxic, dirty, filthy, polluting coal that won't be exported because I've just put it back in the earth. You too can be part of putting coal back in the earth.
Putting it back in the ground. It is just so nutty. But as you say, Joel Fitzgibbon, it does so much damage. Tell us, though, about the broader strategy here, the federal government going for net zero by 2050. We're still waiting to see what Labor will take to the election for 2030. And just in the last half an hour, the federal government's released its modelling for net zero by 2050. It's an old trick, isn't it? Dump it out late in the Friday afternoon so people don't have time to digest it. But we all know that it can't be done with existing technology. So whatever the modelling says, it's going to be largely laughable.
You certainly know, Chris, when they dump something on Friday afternoon, they're not too keen on us paying it much attention. But look, people seem not to understand that all of our coal-fired generators will have retired by 2050. I mean, those protesters are talking about coal that's going to Asian markets where it will offset dirtier coal. But given we won't have any coal-fired generators by 2050, that's a pretty big start, isn't it? And the way, we see technology changing so quickly on a daily basis. We can do hydrogen now. We can do carbon capture now. We can do many things now. We just can't do them at a cheap enough cost to make it economical. But we will over time, Chris. Absolutely. Electric vehicles are the same. The cost will continue to fall over time, particularly if we give some tax breaks and therefore some further incentives to consumers. So I don't think net zero emissions is a Herculean task. I think we can get there pretty comfortably without doing any harm to our economy and, of course, without closing down one coal mine in the Hunter Valley, because 90% of our coal, Chris, goes to export markets.